Originally, I had planned to do page 42 through 45 with you in small reading groups today, but due to being out yesterday for the weather, that wasn't possible, and so we're not going to be able to do small reading groups today. So you should have read page 42 and answered the questions on page 43 and 45, and I'm going to go over those with you. Remember, I pointed out in our last video, this little closed reader habits. You need to get in the habit of doing those. So it says, do the ideas and actions of inventors influence other later inventors? Reread the article, underline details that tell how some inventors influence other inventors. So details on how inventors influenced others. So which would later influence other inventors? Well, that right there says that they're influencing other inventors. His glider designs shaped the work of Otto, not sure of that guy's name. Okay, this guy's designs, George Cayley, were shaping other inventors' works. So that does show us how inventors influence other inventors. And then finally, that Otto guy inspired two brothers from Ohio who happened to be the Wright brothers, who did lots of things for us in flight. And actually, the things that we underlined here are the answers that we're going to use basically on the next page. So going back to the text and looking for key details like that will always help you get answers correct. All right, let's go over to the first question. Which inference is best supported by the passage? We have inventors learn from the work of others. Inventing is much easier than it used to be. Most inventors try to keep their ideas from being stolen. Some inventors are geniuses who don't need help from others. Well, only one of those is supported by what we underlined, and that was the first one. Inventors learn from the work of others. We have things underlined that show how one inventor's work helped inspire or helped shape another inventor's work. Now they want two sentences that show that inventors do learn from the work of others. And we already have them underlined in our passage. I'm going to go ahead and read all the answer choices. People have dreamed of flying since the beginning of time. In 1783, the Montgolfier brothers built the first hot air balloon. His glider design shaped the work of Otto Lilienthal, I'm not sure of his name. In 1891, Lilienthal became the first person to launch a manned glider. He wrote a book about his experiments, which inspired two brothers from Ohio, Orville and Wilbur Wright. And Orville Wright was the first to successfully pilot a motorized flight. Well, two of those talk about inspiring other inventors, and that was C and E. His design shaped the work of Otto. His book about his experiments inspired two other brothers. Okay, that's showing how one person's inventions, designs, ideas inspired somebody else. So that supports our inference in the first part. 2 and 3 are actually completed on page 45. It wants you to use evidence from the text, use the graphic organizer to organize it, and then write a response. So it says, what evidence from the passage supports the idea that technology of flight improved greatly in the last 150 years? Use quotes from the passage in your response. Use the space provided on page 45. And this hint is very, very important. Let me zoom in here so we can see it a little bit better. Whoops, that was a little too much. So this hint here says, first restate the idea from the question, then provide the evidence supporting that idea. So the idea from the question was that the technology of flight improved greatly in less than 150 years. So we're going to start our paragraph with this, and then we're going to use specific words from the text on page 42 to support that idea. I'm going to show you a sample answer. It does not mean this is the only correct answer, it's just a sample. So yours should be something similar, but it doesn't have to be the exact same. So first in flight, that's the text that we read, contains evidence that technology of flight improved greatly in less than 150 years. So that was the idea that we're trying to support. So now I'm going to give reasons from the text that support that idea. Between 400 BCE and 1783, flight wasn't possible. But in 1783, the Montgolfier brothers made a hot air balloon that solved the problem of lift. So now people could rise in the air, but the balloon did not allow riders to move forward or steer. During the 1800s and early 1900s, George Calais, Otto Leinfeld, and the Wright brothers solved the problems of forward movement, steering, and powered flight. So, for more than 2,000 years, humans could not fly at all, and then, in less than 150 years, humans developed fully powered flight. Because of all the work that they did since 1783 to the early 1900s, we're able to fly the way we are today. Without those early inventors, we wouldn't have the success in modern flight that we have today. And it didn't start until 1783 with the hot air balloon. So that was a long time where no progress was made in flight. And then in less than 150 years, we made a whole bunch of progress. So we restated the idea. We listed evidence from the passage that supported that idea. Anytime you write a response, you always want to list evidence from the text to support your response. And that is going to be something that we're going to work on all year this year, and it is going to be something that's on your state test in May. If y'all have any questions about making inferences or writing short responses, please email me.